Okay, today we're going to talk about the quadratic formula. The quadratic formula is an option for you to use when solving a quadratic equation. So let's just take a look at what it is. Based off the general form of a quadratic equation, so that's ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, we come up with this equation called the quadratic formula that finds the roots, or the x-intercepts of the equation. So you get x equals negative b, and this b is associated with the quadratic equation b at the top. So these two are the same. Plus or minus the square root of b squared, again, same b as in the general, minus 4ac all over 2a. Important to remember that the whole entire thing is over 2a, not just the square root piece of it, which is a common mistake. So just know this a goes with this a, and your c here, find a different color, is this c here. So all you're going to do is take the letters from that general form of ax squared plus bx plus c and substitute them in for the quadratic formula below. So now let's try an example on our own here, or together rather. Solve using the quadratic formula x squared plus x minus 10 equals 0. So we now have an equation in the general form that we looked at before. It has an a, b, and a c. Remembering here that when I don't see a specific number in front, I know that it's a 1. So this is 1x squared plus 1x minus 10 equals 0. If I want to solve using the quadratic formula, the first thing we should do is actually write our formula out. So I have x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. There's a nice catchy song that you may learn in class to remember that formula. So now, once we have the formula here, we're just going to plug in our a, our b, and our c and do the math and solve. So from here, we're trying to figure out what these x's are. So I have x equals a negative b. So my negative b here will be that negative 1 plus or minus the square root of b squared, so 1 squared minus 4. A is 1 again. C is negative 10. And we're all over 2a, which is 1. So all we did there is plug in our a, b, and c from the given equation up top that we're trying to solve for. From here, we're just going to do our math. So I have x equals, that red is what we're solving for, negative 1 plus or minus 1 squared, we know is just 1, minus 4 times 1 times negative 10, so I have plus a 40 here, all over 2. From here, let's simplify our square root. X equals negative 1 plus or minus square root of 41 over 2. And since 41 is not a nice root that we want to deal with, we can just leave it as is. So our answer, or answers rather, is going to be negative 1 plus the square root of 41 divided by 2, or negative 1 minus the square root divided by 2. So our answers, x is negative 1 plus or negative 1 minus the square root of 41 all over 2. So there's one example of what we do with the square root formula. Let's take a look at one more together. So here we have to solve it using the quadratic formula of 3x squared minus 6x equals 2. The problem here, our equation does not equal 0, and the first thing we always have to do before starting to solve is make our equation equal to 0. So my first step here is going to be subtract that 2 on both sides to get 3x squared minus 6x minus 2 equals 0. Now that I'm in that general form of ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, I can move on and solve from here. So again, let's write down our formula. So x equals negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And now we're just going to plug in and solve. Our a here is 3, b is negative 6, and c is negative 2. So let's just plug these in and solve. So I'm going to keep my x in red again. B is negative 6, so a negative b in this case is going to be a positive 6. So we have a negative negative 6, which creates a positive. B squared, so 6 squared, minus 4a is 3, and c is negative 2. It's important to be careful with those signs, okay? Keep those straight. 2 times 3 over 2a in the bottom. Now that we've got everything plugged in, let's start to solve. So again, I have x equals 6 plus or minus 6 squared gives us a 36, minus 4ac. So 4 times 3 times 2 is going to give me a positive 24. All over 2 times 3, which is 6. Continuing to simplify here, I have 6 plus or minus 36 and 24. All over our 6. So there, again, 60 is not going to give us an even square root, so we can leave it as is. And we have 6 plus or minus square root of 60 equals 6, leaving us with our answers of x equals 6 plus the square root of 60 over 6, or 6 minus the square root of 60 over 6. Now that we've tried 2 on our own, this last slide here gives you the opportunity to try this one on your own. Good luck.